What's up everyone? Welcome back to another episode featuring Trackman Golf, where we are going to take a deep dive look into what the practice has to offer today. It's one of the good episodes because, this is something that gets used a lot of the time, especially when people come in here to enhance their skills. So it's really important that you know what you're doing within this application. And you can see there's 7 different things to choose from, which doesn't make it exactly easy for you guys to decipher through what is important, what you should be using, and what maybe apps that you maybe shouldn't use as frequently because they're not tailored to you. So let's jump into the first thing we're going to talk about, which is the range side of things. So this populates and we select a club and a target. Let's go to an 8-iron. And what you guys see is that you guys can see that they recommended us a number here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to just an average 8-iron length. Gives us a little bit of a target here that you can see, which is 13 yards wide. And now we're in the bay. So I've got my target set. I've got all my data points around me with some visuals and some lines that are going to come up on the right side with a video. And then also on this side here, I have my carry, my total, my speeds, my basic data numbers. And then it's going to log all my shots in the bottom left. So let's take a swing and evaluate myself a little bit here. I use this often, this app, the range, to warm up, but also make note of a lot of the numbers here. But the key that I really like is this visual representation of the impact video. So there's so many different little things that you get without having to add them or touch them or go through different videos. You just get this every time. So we cover the range and now we look into the shot analysis. So for a lot of people, these are pretty similar. They kind of seem like they're the same thing, but what the range is more of like a self-use, more of somewheres that you can get all that data immediately. And what this is the shot analysis is more of a coaching or learning platform, right? So you can actually go in here and you can see that we can make all of these things on the bottom and top remove, and you can have the full screen. You can also use all these different ideas like dispersion, seeing your grouping, side and top view, seeing your arc. And it also has different metrics here to provide you with the amount of yardages or feet that it's moving high and low or right and left. Video, which you can see, you can actually go in, you can scan that code, connect to the Wi-Fi on the app. Then moving from video to club delivery, where you can actually see a slow-mo version of your club in the overhead IO camera view, where you can see even the ball spinning. This is a very valuable tool, especially when you're not 100% sure of where you hit it or, what happens when you hit it off the toe or the heel, etc., etc. Go into your numbers where we can see more detailed, and we can add. I can go in here and I can add or take away. We have club data, launch data, flight data. If you go through it and just learn it a little bit, it actually helps because you can educate yourself more. Then you won't feel the need that you're getting lost, and you can feel like you're on track more when you know a little bit more about the Trackman numbers. You come in, we keep going to a table, a list of shots. Doesn't get used very often, but if you're an analytical player, this is a great way to find that. You go into impact here, we can see a bunch of different metrics, face to path, club, angles, also your dynamic loft. Get up here, keep going, swing plane. You can actually even take this around. You have a Trackman golf club there, very good data, and impact location. Where did you hit it off the club? So there's a lot of really cool things in this feature, and it is just technically a driving range at the end of the day. But it allows you to access so many different items, which makes it a little bit more advanced. And a lot of with like the camera and technology stuff here is that helps myself and the other instructors provide good lessons and help with our teaching. One of the items we're not going to jump into is map your bag, because we're going to do a full episode on it, because it has a little bit of more of a dynamic component to it and it takes a little more time, and I want to make sure I fully educate you guys on why this can be important, especially in Trackman, but how valuable this can be moving forward into the next season. So we're going to leave that alone right now and jump into the target practice. As this loads, always give it some time. It's actually pulling up like another virtual software like in Trackman, but you can see it actually loading here. So it does take like maybe 5-10 seconds for these apps to sometimes download. So you can see here, we can get in, hit a bunch of different targets to a bunch of different numbers, right? What I want to show you mainly though, is that if you go here and you place your ball, you can click anywhere as you'd like. So if I was going to place it here and hit this 106-yard shot, I could also just select the pin location, and I could also hit this 52, the 68, 110, whatever it might be. The best part about this though is there's even a little one over here that if you wanted to go here and place the ball in one of these, maybe behind one of these bunkers or in one of these bunkers, this is completely dynamic. So you can hit any golf shot on this whole range to any flag, really allowing you to advance whatever skill you're specifically looking to learn and giving you real life like repercussions, and not just as much as the range or the shot analysis is really good for teaching. This has a little bit more of gamification feedback, so you can actually know if you're enhancing those skills or what you might need to do a little bit better in a real game mode versus just at your local range or even on the Trackman range. So now we're in the bay in this bunker with the 30-yard golf shot, and I want to showcase a few things to you guys because you can see down here there's a couple important numbers. So we're hitting our sand wedge, yes. The spin rate is 85 to 95% and the power rate is 80 to 85. So what does that mean? Well, that means that the Trackman is actually going to take some spin off of it and some power off of it. Then there's also two numbers here that showcase that the ball is actually on a left slant and on a downhill. So it becomes more realistic. It allows us to actually spend some time imagining like we're outside hitting some shots, being able to get some realistic feedback out of the bunker. I'd take that shot every time, but now it repopulates me right here and I can continue to work on the same shot over and over. One of my favorites, make sure you're adapting this or using this if you didn't know about this, but this feature can really advance those skills that aren't your strong suit because you can actually bury yourself in situations that you don't like and try to get out of it over and over again. So back to the main page, and now we're gonna go to Performance Center. If you don't know what this is or you don't use this, this could be something in your future that can really help you adapt some good skills. Same thing, if you want the altitude, the green stuff, you can do that, but leave it basic when you're first getting into it, of course, to learn about what that stuff actually does. Very unique here, where you go through a warm-up, you can hit some balls, and you click done. And it loads the Performance Center immediately. So what happens here is we're actually able to build and create some holes. If you want to work on your tee, which is new, you can actually go and click on certain holes to provide yourself with the tee shot and the shape that you either struggle with or you want to work at. The other one is the approach. So you can go here and you can go randomize on both pin locations and randomize in interval, which means that it'll give you random shots between 50 and 150 yards to random flags at random greens. Great to practice if you're trying to be dynamic. If you want to work on a specific item though, you can actually go in here, click off interval, take randomize off, go to green location number 6 per se, and you're really trying to work on your high draw as a righty, and go to the pin location number 2. Let's say that we really want to hit that from 120 yards because that's where we're struggling with. We confirm this and it actually builds the hole. It puts you right on the hole and builds it. Really cool. You can look through your strokes gained in the full summary there too, which is basically, are you hitting it well or are you not hitting it well? Strokes gained is something they use on tour to get an idea for where players have strengths and weaknesses depending on where you hit the ball, how far you hit away from the hole, etc., etc. You have the same metrics and numbers as you did on the range, and it's basically a more high performance view of the range app. So the next one we're covering that we're not really going to talk about too in depth is the test center. But you can see here that you can actually build your own test center, go in and kind of enter your favorite drills, or do the Trackman Combine, which is very famous even amongst tour pros, that allows you to match up your skills and give you real data to see how you're doing, what you need to work at, or just strengths and weaknesses. So if we go back, this on-course practice is pretty cool. This is a great one, especially if you guys play a lot of sim golf. You can actually go through and go to any course that you might like, such as the famous Cabot Cliffs. And we go in here and we start a practice. So what this does is it, virtually, like I said before, puts us into a game that we get in here and we can use this software to actually use the course as our playground. Very highly used. This is your course hole guide, so you can actually click through and you can go to any hole you want, such as the 16th, the famous one. Let's say that you were here playing this golf hole 2 weeks ago and you hit one in the back bunker and you just can't get it out of your mind and you really want to work at it. Let's place the ball in the back bunker. So once you're here, let's go down deep in the bunker too, right where you were, right? So now we're in the bunker. Maybe you were actually over here in this bunker, you left it high behind the green, whichever it might be. But this allows you to do the same thing we just did in the target practice and practice on course in real time, on the favorite courses that are all across the globe. Really cool feature here by Trackman. Kind of a hidden one that if you don't know about it, you won't really use it, but you can practice on any course, any shot, anytime. So guys, that is a lot to do with the practice side of things. That covers most of it. If you have any questions, leave some comments or reach out to us through email. But hopefully this gives you guys a little insight of what to do when you first get in here, what practice you should use, but also maybe gets you a little more curious about clicking these buttons and diving in further. We'll see you guys in the next episode of 7 Iron Golf YouTube channel.